Hello, it's about that time. Time to put my first video out there, helping inventors succeed more regularly and passing on information that I found that works over the years, where I speak with inventors and see, people that are performing, getting their products licensed or sold, and then many inventors, unfortunately, not performing and not licensing. So I think the first topic, or the first video topic that'd be good to bring up, is how inventors go about making money and what that actually looks like. I get the great fortune to talk with many inventors, see what they're up to. Some that have succeeded, others that have not. And it occurs to me that there are some traits to successful inventors that consistently I see that unsuccessful ones don't have. And I wanted to just go over that today to show you exactly what I found. So you're probably aware, if you've been in invention for any amount of time, that licensing is a model that's heavily marketed. It often entails doing less work, going to a company, trying to pitch that product idea, concept, and see if they'll accept it and give you a royalty. Usually 4 to 6% in that range. But still, it's better than nothing if all you've done is literally created a concept, and it's very little investment for a pretty reasonable return. Then you got the second direction, which is often the hardest direction, which is building a business, often called venturing. And the way you succeed at that is a little bit different. You're more involved, especially financially. I mean, you've got more work to do, obviously, but it often also entails much larger financial burden. So I wanted to just get into it as to the two different directions that inventors often take, and what is one of the biggest signs I see of the successful ones versus unsuccessful ones. So let's start with the left side, licensing. What I'm noticing is that people that succeed in licensing, they churn out ideas so quickly, and so it doesn't hurt them to get rejected because they've just got so many ideas. They know something's going to stick. And I call that the shotgun approach. Just literally, you're just shooting, constantly until something sticks. And that's not a bad approach, considering you don't know what's going to sell, you don't know what's going to be interesting to companies. So it's better to just create multiple offerings, and before you know it, you'll be a consistent source of ideas for companies. And going that approach often entails not as much work on the patent side. When you start building relationships with companies, it becomes tiresome to try to patent or secure some kind of copyright or provisional patent on every idea. If you're coming up with hundreds, it becomes not really realistic to be able to do that. What's nice about it is being a source of a lot of ideas is a very valuable thing for companies. And that's actually one of the biggest traits I'm seeing people who are in the licensing game. The biggest trait I see in success is their ability to churn out ideas really quickly and present them very fast, sometimes in the same day or week. And you can get deals very quickly that way, especially if you're just pumping them out. Now, if you're the type that wants a little more headache, but a lot more return, potentially, a lot of businesses, you get, unless you get investment or something that you trade equity for, you generally hold most of the equity. And, they often say it's better to have a small percentage of, and a certain amount rather than a whole percentage, 100% of nothing. And I agree with that. But there is still room to consider going and building your own business. And the mechanism that people use in that world is pivoting. So whereas in licensing, the success trait is just churning out, pumping out ideas, not spending too much time on any one idea, pivoting is more, okay, you create a value, something you think, a product, you create something, and you try to validate it. And you go out and you talk to customers or potential customers. And you find out what they're wanting, what stimulates them, something that solves their problem. Are they looking for that kind of solution? And you may find that you have a small solution or a small part of your offering is valuable, where everything else is just irrelevant or gets in the way. And that's the whole purpose of pivoting. You want to keep refining until all you have left is gold. It's processing ore or processing natural resources to get gold or iron or whatever resource. You got to get rid of a lot of not necessarily worthless material, but useless. You're trying to get, your goal is to get gold in its pure form or iron in its pure form, and you just got to get rid of the things that aren't iron or gold. And that's exactly what pivoting entails. It means, how can I get information that will lead me to refine this into a version 2, and then a version 3, and then a version 4, until eventually you come upon something that really knocks people's socks off. Now, that process can be very expensive. You know, the design, the prototyping, the testing, making sure it's functional, making sure it looks good. You know, that journey is very, very, tiresome. It can be very difficult. And you've just got to be a certain type of person to be able to do that. And, you know, I'm noticing there's a lot of problems that come with people wanting to license. They have one idea, they're trying to make that idea work. They're so emotionally connected with that idea, and it just ends up blowing up in their face because all they have is one idea. They're really, really trying to make it work, but you know, no one's wanting it, or no one's seeing the potential, or no one's seeing the value of it. Whether your product will succeed in the world or not, you still got to go through these companies to persuade them that this is going to be a good add to their product line. And you know, if you can't do that, then it's going to be really challenging. But if you can create several offerings and not stick your emotions to any one of them, it becomes more like a numbers game. And you trust in the very thing you take pride in, which is your ability to generate ideas. Every inventor, I guarantee, you know, maybe not every, but most inventors are very prideful of their ability to come up with good ideas. And the best way to feel good about that is just to literally come up with good ideas, execute on as many as you can, don't put too much weight into it, especially if you're going the licensing route. Now, all of this, these might be two paths, but they have one goal, both they're trying to accomplish. Both of these have one goal they try to accomplish, and that's to create an attractive offering. So, licensing, you're trying to create an attractive offering for companies. You're trying to get them something that they want to, you know, sell, something that they're willing to invest in the infrastructure to put in place and sell. You've got to sell that vision. And the only way you can sell it is to create enough of attractive, you know, an attractive offering to persuade them of that. The same goes for venturing. You're going to have to refine your product until, you know, things make sense financially. Things make sense from a practical, viable manufacturing standpoint or a marketing standpoint. You want to make sure it just makes sense from so many different directions, from you, from the customer, from anybody you deal with, distributors, manufacturers. It has to make sense to everybody, and that comes down to an attractive offering. So that's all I got for you today. Let me know what you think about this. Comment below your thoughts, maybe even something you want to hear about, another topic on invention. I would love to hear it. And with that, this is my first video. Really appreciate your time, and look forward to the next one. Thank you.